Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Object 2 of TU. Well, I mean, the other Object 2 of TU, that one that is in crates, and that is the Type 57, which is obviously horrible. So, well, not the tank, but the crates. Now, this immediately means that while the tank may be good, we'll have a look at that later obviously, it is immediately not worth it due to it being in crates, and also the drop chance is now only 4%, and there are no charms in this vehicle either. So, yeah, they're just getting more greedy and more despicable every time, because now you can't even get the vehicle on charms. If you want that guaranteed, they have to gamble endlessly forever. So WoGaming is getting greedier and greedier with their stupid crates, which is obviously abysmal, but I'm not gonna buy any of these obviously because I'm not an idiot, and I would urge you to not do the same either, and I would also urge you to not donate to people that spend their money on crates either. So let's have a look at the Type 57, and then let's play the Object 2 of TU because it's the same, with a bit less gun depression. So there we go, having a look at the Type 57, and the stock DPM of that vehicle is 1,600, which is less than it is here. So again, they have reduced that. So what we got is we got a lot less DPM than the regular Tirate Japanese heavy tank, which is actually very solid. You do have higher penetration, and you also have higher alpha damage. That is an advantage there. Now, in comparison to the 2 FTU, you got slightly less pen and 10 more alpha damage, so that sort of cancelled itself out, and also slightly less DPM, as this figure doesn't seem to be too accurate. Now, in terms of the aim time and accuracy and dispersion, it is very similar to the regular Chisei, whereas you have 0.34, but then worse dispersion on the move, whereas this one has bad standard dispersion and better dispersion on the move, so it's going to somewhat cancel itself out. The gun depression of this one is 9 degrees by default, but you can give the Chisei 9 degrees of gun depression as well, and I would recommend doing that, because that turns it into somewhat of a competitive AMX M449 competitor, just without the credits basically, and slightly slower, so there is that. Now it is slightly faster as well by 1 effective power to weight ratio here, and 2 on the, well, softer terrains. So that is definitely an advantage. Also, the top speed is higher, and the traverse speed is slightly slower than that of the Chisei. So essentially, it is very comparable to the Chisei. And the same goes in the armor as well. Well, the Chisei has bigger, regular armor values. The Type 57 does have better angles. So let's now have a look at the armor of this vehicle as well. And after that, we're going to play the 2 FTU because that is very similar to it, bar the gun depression. Now, how similar is it actually, the 2 FTU? Even the armor profile lines up. You can't pen the upper plate unless you're shooting down onto it, then it becomes very easy to pen. You do have this driver's hatch here that is very easily pennable if you have the accuracy for it, and if you're very close, if you're face-hugging this vehicle, you have this driver's hatch that you're going to be able to pen. The lower plate is massive and obviously very weak, just like in a 2 FTU, and the sides are very Object 279E shaped. As in, I wouldn't recommend shooting like up here. It's either shoot in the turret or shoot down towards the tracks, because these sides are very well angled, and you might get some bounces off here, as you can see, of these angles. That is very strong there. So that is nice. You have a cupola on top, which is not great. You also have this plate, which is very strong, but obviously, again, if someone's above you, if someone's higher than you, it becomes very easy to pen this plate as well. So a T9 is not going to struggle. A T9 is not even going to struggle with the turret for some spots. Every T9 medium tank with its 300mm of heat pen 330 is going to have a chance at this plate here if they do hit the right spots down here. You have a section down here where the angle allows it to have like 260mm, and the gun depression that actually becomes less, so you can pen that as well. So overall, armor is relatively strong. It isn't a OP, insane, crazy vehicle, but it is definitely competitive, which is nice to see. WoGaming has finally released a vehicle that isn't shit in crates. Looking at you, T25 Pilot, and everything that came after it. So let's now have a look at the Object 2 of TU, because it plays the same. Now, how do I know that it plays the same? Well, because the stats pretty much line up just with this vehicle as well, and the only difference is the gun depression. However, a lot of people are just going to play this thing in the city, which that's not going to matter much, but I obviously disencourage that massively. Do not ever go into the city section of a map under any circumstances, especially if the city is on the side of the map, and that's bad. But the main difference between the Type and this vehicle is the gun depression. So I would assume the Type to be about 1 to 2% better in its actual capable performance. Now, does that make it worth 3 times the price? Of course not. It doesn't. It never does. That's the point. A premium tank that is better, but at a massively worse price, isn't actually better. If you pay double for 10% more performance, then you bought it either bought a RTX 3090 or you're buying horrible premium tanks. And the same thing here. If, let's assume, the Object 2 FTU is sold for 5,000 gold, which is its lowest price that has ever been sold for, and it was during a Black Friday. Let's assume that the Object 2 FTU is sold for 5k gold. Then the type would be fine for, I think, 6 to 6.5k. Then it would be saying, okay, the vehicle's better, it's still a competitive price, it's more expensive, but it's also better, so go for it. Not having to spend 30, 40, 50, even 60,000 gold, and then getting a whole heap of premium time boosters and whatever that you don't need with the crates, then get a vehicle that you essentially can get very cheaply as well. So that is nice. So also, this is only a replay because Shadowplay decided to record the wrong monitor again. But yeah, I know how to fix it. So there's that. Now, I see you. He's gone. That's good. What you want to do in a situation like this, you want to isolate vehicles. Obviously, 4 versus 5, the VK is definitely going to die. So what you want to do here in this position is take out as many guns of the enemy as possible, because obviously the less tanks the enemy has, the less enemies can actually shoot at you. Sounds reasonable, right? Now, obviously, if I were to overhype the new Type 57, then you're going to be like, oh my god, great, just buy it, worth it. No, that's why I never overhype new tanks. I'm not going to do that. You know, it has to be like Smasher level of OP in the decent bundle to get overhyping for me, because obviously I don't want you to just rush out, get a tank, and then after 2 weeks realize, wait, this actually isn't that impressive. Just like the Type 71, really. It's fine, but it's not impressive, and it's also just a worse i7, so yeah, there's like no point to really pick that up. That's why my review of that vehicle was pretty negative. But the T8, the GC, it's very solid. That is a good tank. That is actually a vehicle that I think is going to perform very well. It's going to continue to be interesting, just like the 2FTU still is interesting, even like 4 years after it came out. And the Type 57 is going to somewhat slot in that bracket where it's not the best, it's not the most amazing vehicle, it's not the most impressive vehicle, but it's certainly solid, and it is going to stay relevant for a while, as long as they release it for a reasonable price in the future. Because if they don't, then my recommendation continues to go for the Object 2 FTU, obviously, and you shouldn't be peaking like that if you have 100 hit points. And obviously in this fight, we're against the T29, he has the hit point disadvantage, he has the alpha damage disadvantage, he has a tier disadvantage, and he also has a skill disadvantage. So that's a bit unfortunate for him. So overall, I continue to recommend tanks that are actually worth it, rather than overhyping new garbage. Because obviously, no tier 10 is worth more than 10k gold, and then for this one, you probably have to pay way more than that, because there aren't even any fucking charms wargaming, and they have reduced the drop chance from regularly 5% to 4%, so they're ripping you off even harder. At this point, they're simply testing how far can they go to have the idiots still buying the crates, and it is absolutely despicable to see that, and them straying even further away from actual reasonable pricing, because at this point, this isn't selling something anymore. This is straight up scamming kids that think, hey, look, new tank, I can get it. And then, well, the crates do not contain charms. There is no guaranteed time to get to these vehicles. You can open 200 of these crates and still not get the vehicle. So my recommendation stays to be buy the 2FTU when it's in shop. That is a way better option. That is a great option if you like that kind of tanks. Obviously, see, I don't hate every tank, but just Wargaming just sells you a lot of shit. I don't hate, like, the 2FTU is a great tank at a great price. The MX M449 is an amazing tank at an absolutely amazing price. But the problem is, when Wargaming sells 50 crap tanks and then 5 good tanks, you know, some people are like, why is everything so negative? Well, ask fucking Wargaming. But anyway, a little rant over for the end here. Hope you enjoyed. Please don't buy the crates. Just ignore them. Anyway, see you on the next one. Goodbye.